Hello, dear student. I'm your chemistry teacher, Miss Sunny.
You know, we live our lives surrounded by stuff. Solids, liquids, gases. Seems pretty simple, right? But what if I told you that just beneath the surface of everything you can see and touch, there's this entire invisible world, a hidden reality that dictates how everything behaves?
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? What gives a block of ice its solid, unyielding shape? And what lets steam just escape a kettle and, poof, fill an entire room? The questions seem almost childishly simple, but the answers, well, they take us way, way down to the microscopic level.
Because the answer, it turns out, is all about movement. Every single thing in the universe is made of these countless, tiny particles, and they're all locked in a constant, chaotic, secret dance. And the rules of this dance, they determine absolutely everything.
And here's the incredible part. We don't need a dozen complicated rules to figure it out. There is one single, elegant theory that acts like a master key, unlocking all the secrets of this invisible world and explaining every single one of their moves.
And that hero idea is the kinetic particle theory. It's the absolute foundation for everything we're about to explore, from why ice melts to what's keeping the tires on your car inflated. So what is it really? Well, at its heart, the theory says two really basic things. First, everything is made of tiny particles, and they are always in random motion. And second, the energy of that motion is what we feel as heat or temperature. So more motion means a higher temperature. It sounds simple, right? But the power of this idea is just immense. Okay, now check this out, because this lays out the three states of matter perfectly. In a solid, all those particles are locked into a tight, orderly grid. They can't go anywhere, so they just vibrate in place with low energy. But if you pump in some more energy, they break free from that grid and start to slide past each other. That's a liquid. And if you add even more energy, they fly apart completely, zipping around like crazy as a high-energy gas. You see, it's all about how much energy, and therefore how much freedom, those particles have.
So if energy is the key, what happens when we add it or take it away? Well, the particles don't just stay put in one state. They can transition. They can change. So let's follow that journey from solid to liquid to gas and all the way back again. Turns out there are 6 main ways that matter can change its phase. Now, we all know the big 3, melting, boiling, and freezing. But there's also condensation. You know, the dew you see on the grass in the morning. And then you get the really cool ones, sublimation, where a solid like dry ice just vanishes directly into a gas, and its exact opposite, deposition. Every single one of these is basically a battle between the particles' energy and the forces trying to hold them together.
Okay, here is a truly mind-bending fact. If you stick a thermometer in a pot of melting ice, that thermometer will read exactly 0 degrees Celsius until every last bit of ice is gone. The temperature does not go up. So why? Think of it like this. Imagine a packed dance floor. The heat you add at first makes everyone dance faster and faster. That's kinetic energy, and the temperature rises. But once you hit the melting point, any new energy you add isn't for dancing faster. It's used to push people apart, to break up the cliques and give everyone more room. That's potential energy. The dancing speed, the temperature, it doesn't change again until everyone has broken free.
And this idea helps us clear up a really common mix-up, boiling versus evaporation. Yeah, they both turn a liquid into a gas, but they are not the same thing at all. Evaporation is that slow, quiet process that happens only at the surface. Just think of a puddle drying up on a cool day. Boiling, on the other hand, is a fast, violent event that happens all the way through the liquid, but, and this is key, only when it hits that one specific boiling point temperature.
You know, we can actually map out this whole process of adding energy and changing states visually. Scientists use something called heating and cooling curves, and they basically tell the story of a substance as it completely transforms.
And this chart, this illustrates the point we just made perfectly. When you look at a heating curve, the sloped parts, that's the temperature rising, that's kinetic energy. The particles are speeding up. But do you see those flat plateaus? That's the phase change happening. That's the melting or the boiling. The temperature is totally constant because all that incoming energy is going into potential energy. It's busy breaking those bonds apart.
And the energy that's absorbed during those flat parts, it has a special name, latent heat. Latent literally means hidden. It's the hidden energy a substance has to absorb just to make that jump from one state to the next. And this, by the way, is why a burn from steam is so much worse than a burn from boiling water.
That steam releases a massive amount of this hidden energy when it condenses back into liquid on your skin.
All right, now that we see how powerful this theory is for explaining phase changes, let's zoom in on the most chaotic state of all, gases. Because it turns out the kinetic particle theory gives us this amazing toolkit to predict their behavior with something called the gas laws.
So first up is Boyle's law. Now, it sounds all technical, but the idea behind it is pure intuition. If you've got some gas trapped in a container and you don't change its temperature, squishing it into a smaller space is going to dramatically increase its pressure.
And the kinetic theory tells us exactly why. See, pressure is just the result of all those tiny gas particles constantly colliding with the walls of their container. So if you shrink that container, you've got the exact same number of particles bouncing around in a much smaller space. So they're going to hit the walls way more often. More collisions mean more force, which means higher pressure. It's really that simple.
Next, we've got Charles's law. This one connects volume and temperature. Basically, it just says that if you heat up a gas, it's going to expand, as long as you give it the room to do so. The perfect real-world example is a hot air balloon.
And again, the theory explains this perfectly. When you heat a gas, you're giving its particles more kinetic energy, which makes them move a whole lot faster. They start slamming into the container walls harder and more often. So to keep the pressure from going through the roof, you have to give them more space to move around in. The volume has to increase.
Now, this constant random motion of particles also explains another phenomenon we see literally every day: diffusion. Diffusion is just the natural tendency for particles to spread out until they're evenly mixed. It's not some kind of magical force, it's just the inevitable result of particles bumping and bouncing around totally at random.
And we experience this constantly. It's why the smell of baking cookies eventually fills the entire house. It's how those solid air fresheners work. The solid sublimates into a gas, and those scent particles just naturally diffuse through the air. This principle is even absolutely critical in medicine, since it governs how drugs spread throughout our bodies.
So you see what's happening here? The crucial point is this. From boiling a kettle to the way a pressure cooker works by manipulating Boyle's law, all the way to smelling perfume from across a room, all these things that seem totally unrelated are actually governed by the exact same fundamental principle, the constant invisible motion of particles.
It's such a powerful idea when you think about it, that from the silent, ordered vibration of a solid, all the way to the wild, chaotic dance of a gas, one single theory gives us the rules. It lets us understand this invisible world that is, at every moment, shaping our own.
And that leaves us with one last fascinating question to think about. If temperature is just a measure of particle motion, what actually happens when you reach absolute zero, the coldest possible temperature in the entire universe? What does a world with no motion, no kinetic energy, what does that truly look like?